Chapter 1. Introduction. You wake up one morning ready to start your next creative project when you realize that you've grown tired of the beads and stones in your supplies. Suddenly, you realize that those pretty beads and charms are boring all by themselves, and you need something else to provide that, quote, extra oomph you'd like your next set of accessories to have. So, you decide to look for a new material to use, and as you scour the house for possibilities, you come across your mother's sewing machine and her stash of materials in its drawers. Ah, creative heaven! Fabrics, ribbons, and buttons of different colors and textures have now got your creative juices flowing, until you remember that you can't sew a stitch. What to do? That's where this wonderful guide comes in. This guide is packed with ideas on how you can both reuse and repurpose fabric scraps, laces, ribbons, and buttons, along with your beading materials, to create fun, flirty, and unique fashion accessories without use of a sewing machine. Most of the products will only require a glue gun or fabric glue, or the ability to attach components using basic stitches. Even if you have virtually zero sewing ability, you need not fret, as a short guide is also included to guide you through those simple steps. You will marvel at how buttons can be used to create earrings and bracelets, and how those pieces of scrap chiffon can be turned into a romantic necklace. Learn how to create funky accessories that will set you apart from the rest, like a Rasta-inspired bangle and earring set made from scrap felt cloth. Ribbons have always been used to prettify things, but they don't always need to be tied in bows to do that. If you're ready to try more complicated steps, create a statement necklace by sewing colorful beads in circular patterns on felt cloth. This particular project will definitely impress your friends because it looks very difficult to pull off, but in actuality, it's quite simple. Impeccable sewing skills are not needed to complete it, but a lot of patience is required. Once you've completed the projects suggested here, use ideas and steps from different projects and mix and match materials, colors, and textures to come up with your very own design. Flip that page now and let's get started. Basic tools and materials you will need. Aside from basic beading materials such as beads, chains, eye pins, head pins, jump rings, locks, ear hooks, and the like, you will need items readily available from any sewing kit. Buttons. Colorful plastic buttons, shiny brass buttons, and vintage-looking wood buttons will look perfect alongside metal charms on a charm bracelet. They will also look pretty on a necklace, or as a focal point on a hair clip. Fabric flowers. Fabric flowers make beautiful accents for necklaces. You can buy them ready-made from craft stores, or you can make one on your own. Ribbons. Colorful ribbons in satin or organza, in different thicknesses, can be used in a variety of ways. They can be used to string beads together to make a necklace, or wrapped around wood components for an embellishment, or even woven into chain links to give your necklaces or bracelets more color and character. Cabochons and sequins. If you want to make eye-catching accessories to make you pop during a night out on the dance floor at your favorite club, adding cabochons and sequins can give your piece the shimmer and glitter it needs. Threads. Skein threads, which are used for cross-stitching and embroidery, and specialty threads, like the one shown in the picture below, are used to put your fabric pieces together. Skein threads can also be wrapped around wood components to create textured, colored components for earrings or necklaces, as shown in one of the no-sew projects included within this guide. Skein threads are available in different colors and can create beautiful, fancy stitches on felt cloth. Shiny threads like the red one pictured can add glitter and sparkle to your piece, although they are quite rough in texture. Fabrics. If you cut off denim from your old jeans, or pieces of scrap chiffon and cotton, don't throw away those fabrics. Denim can be used to make a funky beaded cuff or necklace, and other scrap fabric can be used to wrap beads to personalize them and give them texture and color. Felt is wonderful to use when you want to create fun and colorful pieces. It is perfect if sewing is a challenge, and since felt edges do not fray, finishing off the edges is not needed. It is also perfect to use as a base for beads and cabochons. Adhesives. Not every piece needs to be sewn or stitched together. Fabric glue or glue sticks can be used to assemble pieces together. Velcro is also a good material to use for adjustable fabric cuffs. Basic stitches and steps to know. Before beginning any of the projects in this guide, familiarize yourself with these basic stitches and steps. For demonstration, I used tulle for its large holes and wax cord as the thread, so that you can clearly see where each stitch would go in the photo examples. Running stitch. The running stitch is the most basic stitch, with many uses, but the most practical is for sewing pieces of fabric together. Simply pull the thread in and out of the fabric, making sure that each stitch is consistent in size and that the stitches are evenly spaced apart. See pictures below. When attaching beads to cloth, the running stitch can also be used. Pick a bead every time the needle goes out of the thread and secure the bead in place every time the needle goes into the fabric. Just a tip, make sure that your stitches are as wide as your beads so that the beads don't hang loose. Back stitch. The back stitch is useful to attaching a piece of cloth to another or to attach beads to cloth. From the starting point, take a stitch back into the cloth. Put the needle back into the fabric at a point that is twice the length of your stitch. When you pull out the needle, put it back into the starting point. The pictures below perfectly illustrate the steps. 1. From your starting point, where the needle first comes out, take a stitch to the left and let the needle go out of the right side of the starting point. Ensure that the starting point is midway between the point where you stitched it in and the point where the needle exits the cloth. Pull the needle and place it back into the hole of the starting point. 2. The needle should come out at twice the distance from where you put it in. 3. For example, plain backstitch and beads attached using a backstitch. The backstitch is best used when you want your beads to be close to each other. Blanket stitch. The blanket stitch is a decorative way of finishing felt edges. It is also used to attach two pieces of cloth together. To add more appeal to your piece, use a contrasting color of skein thread. 1. If you are attaching two pieces of fabric together, make sure that the wrong sides of the fabric are facing each other. Place your needle through the wrong side of the bottom piece and out of its right side. See picture below. The knot should be sandwiched between the two pieces of cloth. 2. Take a stitch to the left from where your needle came out. Pull the thread just enough to leave a loop through which you can put your needle. Pull the thread to secure. 3. After you have pulled the thread, take another stitch to the left and repeat the process until you come up with the row of stitches found in the second picture. Now that you know the basics, let's dive in.